Hello everyone, it's Pat with our Oracle card reading and messages for this week. Today's the 15th, and we will be going right into the 20th over this coming weekend. So I'm going to be picking on the Archangel cards like I usually do. I also have brought out the Akashic Tarot, this lovely deck here by Sharon and Sandra Ann Taylor. And I've also pulled out the Earth Magic deck by Stephen Farmer. So, and it's a really interesting, I think, energy this week. Okay, so I went ahead and shuffled and kind of let the cards come out that were going to come out in the interest of time. So this week, the archangels that we have overseeing us are Raphael with this message of breathe. And it says, take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. So this is about being very present this week and using your breath to do that. And also to calm yourself, because, you probably will see a lot more drama going on in the news. There may be some more earth events. And it's about using your breath to calm your emotions, okay? And with whatever you may come across this week. Work with your breath to be and stay present with your own emotions and whatever it is that you're processing, okay? So and Raphael is our healing angel to work with this week, and that color of that beautiful emerald green, it's a very healing color. We also had Archangel Uriel who popped out at us for this week with this message of brilliant idea. And what I get about that is just you're going to be probably receiving inspirational ideas that come to you this week. The full moon shines the light on things, and this week we have the full moon, and we have it as a partial eclipse, which is really like a full moon on steroids. This whole month has been eclipse month, and it brings things to light, including your own brilliance, okay? And so it's helping us individually, personally, and humanity as a whole to bring new ideas, to bring new paradigms, to bring new things to the table, to the world. And it does that through each of us individually, and it also works with us collectively. So pay attention to ideas that are coming to you. You will get some really great divinely inspired ideas, and that's what this card says. Yes, your idea is divinely guided. Please take action to bring your idea to fruition. And sometimes those initial action steps, it may just be, doing a little bit of research about your idea. I mean, it may have come to you out of the blue, out of nowhere. And which sometimes that's how it happens. You're out taking a walk, you're daydreaming, or in the midst of doing something, some other task, and that the idea comes to you, or the awareness comes to you. I think I was just watching something the other day that was talking about Albert Einstein, and some of his best ideas and revelations came to him when he was not trying to think or analyze them, think about them or analyze the solution to them. So be aware of that and pay attention to them. Don't blow them off. Write them down. So okay, let's take a look at what Stephen Farmer's cards have to show us for this week, and the Akashic Tarot. Okay. All right, so for the beginning of the week, the Akashic Tarot is showing us this card, the Two of Keys, and it says the treasure. And in this image, the man is actually looking at his cabin that's kind of been ransacked. There's stuff spilled all over everywhere, like he's been robbed. Okay, so what this perhaps means at the beginning of the week is there's something that we may be processing, or maybe initially seeing as like a loss. We might be kind of bummed out about it. It could be the loss of a job. It could be the loss of some kind of material supply. Maybe there's a job that you were going for that you lost out on. It just something like that initially up front feels like a loss to you. But what's in the background of this picture is, in the back, there's actually another box sitting on the table in back that has a light glowing out of it. And it's a treasure box that was untouched. And it has to do with the treasure that we have within us. Now, the Stephen Farmer card that came out for the beginning of this week was blessings, and there's a rainbow in it, okay? And what that shows me for the beginning of this week is that whatever it is that happens, or that we see as like a possible, or feels to us like a little bit of a loss, is actually making way for something better that's going to come along, okay? There's a blessing in it, and it's that whole blessing in disguise thing that comes up sometimes in cards, where something initially that doesn't seem to be like is just an annoyance or like a bummer or what have you, it actually ends up being a blessing, because it's making the way for something better that's coming along for you. I actually had a recent experience of this on a small scale. I had done some food shopping, and I bought this there's a particular protein powder that I like that's plant-based, and it's, you know, good tasting and everything like that. You may have heard of it, raw protein with greens. Well, I got it at Whole Foods, and even though I got it there, it was like $45. And afterwards, when I brought it home, and I was kind of going over my whole shopping thing and how much I spent, I was like, you know, God, I really don't need to be spending that much on protein powder. So I ended up taking it back to the store, and at the time it felt like, oh God, you know, I think I just need to, you know, forget about protein powder, because protein powders can be expensive. Well, what was interesting about that is that because I purchased from Whole Foods, which is part of Amazon, I had one of those little Prime coupons for $10. And so I went to go online today to shop for Prime Day, and I just had the idea, you know, like we get these ideas from Uriel. I was like, you know what? I'm going to look up that protein powder here on Amazon. And sure enough, I found it, and it was half the price, less than half the price. It was like $20. And so that, and I added my Prime $10 gift card to it, and I got the whole thing for $10. So even though initially I felt like kind of bummed that I had to bring it back to the store and maybe go without this particular protein powder, I actually ended up with something even better. I got it for $10. You know, what's not to like about that? So that's what kind of happens when we see something like this. You know, it's just a small scale example, but of like a blessing in disguise. You lose out on something, but it's because it's making the way for something better that's coming along. So, all right. The next cards that came out as we go into our middle of the week. Well, of course, Stephen Farmer's card came right out with the full moon. So it's right in alignment with that. And the message on it is about completion, okay? And it's about the fact that the full moon is ultimately the completion of the whole moon, the whole lunar cycle, I believe. And so it is about things coming to fruition, things coming to completion. It's a little bit about beginnings and endings, because full moons, especially, you know, eclipses, which is kind of like an amped up full moon, it can bring endings to things. It's calling it completion, but it's about, you know, something coming to a culmination. So it's no surprise in some ways that we have this kind of loss card. It seems like a loss, but it's actually probably really that something has fulfilled its purpose. It's reached its level of completion, and so it's done, and it's time for it to, you know, fall away, or you know, it's going to evolve into something else. But this card is also about enjoying that completion, even though we don't necessarily always enjoy loss. But it's kind of like, if you think of the cycle of your breathing, which I know breath was a message in our cards this week. You know, when you breathe in, you reach that culmination point where your lungs have reached saturation, and then you exhale and you relax and you enjoy the completion of that cycle. So it's about, again, being present with that, and, you know, not just quickly moving on to the next thing, but whatever it is that's reached culmination in your life, it's about, middle of this week, taking time to appreciate that. It's maybe shining light on an achievement that you have, you know, something you've been working really hard on that's finally come to completion, a contract that's done and over with. You know, it might be the end of a relationship too, but, you know, it's kind of like about looking at it in terms of the whole, like, you know, I worked really hard on this, or I got a lot of growth from this, learned a lot from this experience, and it's about taking all that in as part of your being complete with the experience. Okay, so there's a bit of that going on middle of the week. And, you know, right now what the Akashic records are showing us is that it's going to make it seem for a little bit like things are up in the air, like this balloon. You know, you've kind of come to completion with this thing, and you don't really maybe have a strong sense of where you're going next, or what's coming up next, or what's next for you. And that's okay. You know, things can be up in the air for a while. You can enjoy that, you know, completion, or being complete with something, and, you know, wait and see where that balloon is going to go. I know sometimes it can be a little frustrating to us, especially as we're in these Mercury retrograde energies and these full moon energies. You know, it can seem a little, the energies sometimes can seem chaotic, like they're all over the place. But, and we as humans are looking for that focus and direction. You know, we want to know. But confusion is that wonderful state before clarity, as Dr. Joe Vitale is known for saying. And it can be okay. I think there was something in here that, in the card description of the up in the air, that I thought was really interesting. Yeah, it says, during this time of your life, there are aspects of an important situation that may seem hidden to you. And even though we tap into the Akashic records for insights into the future, or as to where things are going, there are still elements that at this time, you know, might be unknowable. And it has to do with, you know, maybe events that haven't taken place yet. Things haven't come to pass. You know, people haven't made certain choices. Free will choices are always a big part of, you know, how things take place. So it's important to keep that in mind. Now, as we get to the end of the week, we have Stephen Farmer's cards gave us Vision Quest, and we also have, I have car backing out into my driveway. I'm wondering what it was. The Light of the World. So as I looked at this card, you know, I thought some people are going to, you know, those who are more Christian based are going to think of this as Jesus knocking at the door of your home and your heart. He's the light of the world, you know. And in this picture, the person inside the house isn't really aware that he's kind of knocking there. And Vision Quest is about, you know, going out into quiet places to get or receive a vision, places where you can be away from distraction. So what these cards show us as we come into the weekend is that we're looking for that quiet time. We're looking for that time to spiritually connect with our inner self, our higher self, connecting with our inner essence, where, you know, a lot of the knowledge, the answers are, where that's where the visions come to us. Oh.
My other